Hi there, Nigel Saunders of KW Bonsai. In the summer, our club goes for a trip to the nursery, and we always buy a few trees to bring home and turn into bonsai. So this year I bought this Tamarix. It's a new species for me. I've never had one before. So I'm going to kind of take you through my thought processes and some early techniques for styling this and turning it into a bonsai tree. As you can see, this tree is very tall, goes right up to here. It gets all these purple flowers on it, pink and purple flowers on it. Some of the trees in the nursery were in flower, but I just picked the tallest tree. I figured it'd have the best trunk to start off with. The first thing I do when I get a new species of tree is I research it on the internet, find out everything I can about the tree, and I do a lot of research to see pictures of it in nature, to see what the full-size trees, what their form is growing in the wild, and kind of get some styling ideas from that. On the channel, if you click on the playlist Tree Documentaries and scroll down to the very end of it, I've added some Tamarix videos on there. They'll talk about the tree, some of the characteristics of the tree and how it grows and that kind of thing. They're very interesting. When I get a new species of tree, I don't look up, what they look like as a bonsai tree, because it's very often in bonsai trees, versions of the full-size tree are quite different. Most of these trees on the internet are styled like a weeping tree, like a weeping willow. And they lend themselves really nicely to that form. However, with my trees, I like to try and get them to look like their full-size counterparts in the wild. So I'm not going to be creating a weeping form with this tree. I'm going to try and create its natural form if I can. The natural style of this tree that I want to recreate is one that's growing in the desert with roots that go kind of twisting across the surface of the sand. A really weather-beaten trunk that looks like it's survived everything Mother Nature could throw at it. And a really kind of, a rugged, weather-beaten look to it. So where do we begin with this tree? Because the foliage on it is so fine, it's very small and miniature, this tree could be successfully made as a small tree. I don't want a great big giant tree. I want to keep it to a reasonable size. And I'm going to prune it down very small and grow it, and gradually it'll get bigger and bigger, or larger as it, ages. So if I start with a small tree, and over the next 10 to 20 years, if it grows larger into a larger tree, that's okay. I don't want to put this in the ground and grow the trunk fatter. To me, there's no point growing a thick trunk unless it has character, unless your roots are sorted out, and just size doesn't really matter as long as your small one has all the details that a large trunk has: bark, surface roots, and that kind of thing. So in bonsai, growing a tree larger just for the sake of growing it larger, to me, is counterproductive. I would rather sort out all the small details on the tree. Just letting it grow doesn't make a bonsai tree. You can see this tree is apically dominant. It means it puts all the vigor at the tip of the branches, and the branches down low are starting to yellow, and some of them are starting to die off. You can see, some that are almost dead. So we want to cut the tree down in height and get vigor back in our lower branches. We've got one main center trunk and two side branches. So we can prune the main trunk off to this highest side branch, and that can be taken over as the new leader. And we'll have a bit of movement to the tree also. So let's do that. Here we go. There we go. So that was a really tall leader. Wow. So we're still too high here. We're going to cut this leader back further. So, you know, we've got a bit of movement now, and we'll get some more later on. So we're going to cut it to here. And we'll just prune off the tips of these branches. So I'm just taking it back to some, you know, some of the greener foliage. Doing a little directional pruning. Pruning some of the tips off to encourage ramification. You can see the trunk now. We'll get some scars that'll heal over eventually. A little bit of movement. We'll kind of create a bush-like form for starters, and then maybe selectively prune it down to a single trunk later on. So as I said, it's going to be a long-term project. This isn't going to be a instant bonsai. I probably could repot this now and get away with it, but I'm not. I'm going to wait till spring. I'm in no hurry for this tree. That's it for today on our little Tamarix tree, turning a nursery plant into a bonsai tree eventually. So Nigel Saunders of KW Bonsai. Do something green today. Watch a documentary on saving the earth. One on creating less garbage or climate change. Something to inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.